My ex-girlfriend knocked on my door with her new boyfriend and said, "I know this is crazy, but I still love you. Just one night together, he doesn't have to know." What happened next turned her perfect new relationship into absolute chaos. Hello everyone. If you're subscribed, let's dive right into this story. This tale will absolutely infuriate you, but don't worry, justice will be served in the end. Ready? Let's begin. Don't forget to hit that like button. I absolutely love reading your amazing comments. I'm Jake, 29 years old, and I work as a freelance graphic designer for my apartment in downtown Seattle. I've been single for about a year and a half, focusing on building my business and honestly enjoying the peace and quiet. My ex-girlfriend Jessica is 27, works as a social media manager for a tech startup, and we dated for almost 3 years before breaking up about 18 months ago. The breakup wasn't dramatic, we just grew apart, wanted different things. She moved on pretty quickly to Brandon, a finance guy who drives a Tesla, and takes her on expensive weekend trips to Napa Valley. From what I'd heard through mutual friends, they were the perfect couple, constantly posting Instagram stories from fancy restaurants, designer shopping trips, and romantic getaways. Brandon seemed to worship the ground she walked on, and Jessica appeared to have found exactly what she was looking for: security, luxury, and constant validation. I hadn't spoken to Jessica in over a year when she showed up at my apartment last November. We had no mutual friends left, no reason to stay in touch, no shared responsibilities. That's what made what happened so completely unexpected. It was a Saturday evening around 7 p.m. I was working on a logo design for a client when I heard a knock at my door. I looked through the peephole and nearly dropped my coffee cup. There was Jessica, looking exactly like her Instagram photos, perfectly styled hair, expensive outfit, designer handbag. But what shocked me wasn't seeing her after all this time. It was the tall, well-dressed man standing right behind her, looking uncomfortable and checking his phone. I opened the door, completely confused about why they were both there. "Hey Jake," Jessica said with that familiar smile, the one she used to use when she wanted something. "I know this is weird, but can we talk for a minute?" I looked between her and the man behind her, who had to be Brandon. He looked exactly like his photos, handsome in that generic finance guy way, expensive watch, perfectly pressed shirt. "Both of you want to talk?" "Actually," Jessica said, glancing back at Brandon, "he's going to wait in the car. This will just take a few minutes." Brandon nodded awkwardly. "I'll be downstairs," he said, his voice tight. He didn't look happy about this arrangement. After he left, I looked at Jessica. "What's this about? Why are you here after all this time?" She stepped closer, and I caught her familiar perfume, something expensive that Brandon probably bought her. "Can I come in, please? It's important." Against my better judgment, I let her in. She walked into my living room like she was cataloging every change I'd made since she left. New furniture, different art on the walls, updated electronics. "The place looks good," she said, but there was something calculated about the compliment. "You always did have good taste." "Thanks. So what's going on, Jessica? This is all pretty strange." Jessica sat down on my couch without being invited, crossing her legs in that deliberate way I remembered. She was nervous about something, playing with her expensive bracelet. "Things with Brandon are," she paused, searching for the right words. "They're not what I expected." "I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm not sure why you're telling me this. He's perfect on paper," she continued, ignoring my response. "Makes great money, takes me nice places, buys me anything I want. But Jake, he's so boring, so predictable. I could see where this might be heading, and I didn't like it. Jessica, if you're having relationship problems, you should talk to him about it, not me." She stood up and moved closer. "I have talked to him, but he doesn't understand. With him, everything is scheduled, planned, safe. Remember how spontaneous we used to be? How passionate? That's in the past, Jessica." "Is it?" She reached out and touched my arm. "Because I've been thinking about us a lot lately, about what we had." I stepped back, putting distance between us. "We broke up for good reasons, we weren't right for each other. Maybe we just needed time apart to appreciate what we had." Then she said the words that changed everything. "I know this is crazy, but I still love you. What if we could have just one night together? Brandon doesn't have to know. Just to see if what we had is still there." I stared at her, speechless. This woman had brought her current boyfriend to my apartment, sent him to wait in the car like a chauffeur, and was now proposing we cheat on him. "Are you serious right now?" "Completely serious," she said, moving closer again. "Brandon thinks I'm up here getting closure from our relationship. He's actually encouraging this conversation because he wants me to move on completely. And your idea of closure is cheating on him? It's not cheating if it doesn't mean anything. It's just finishing something that never got properly finished between us." The rationalization was so typical of Jessica. She could justify anything if it meant getting what she wanted. I looked at her for a long moment, processing what she'd just proposed. Part of me remembered the good times we'd had, the chemistry that had once been there. She was beautiful, familiar, and standing in my apartment offering herself to me. But another part of me, the part that remembered why we'd broken up, was disgusted by her selfishness and manipulation. "I need a minute to think about this," I finally said. Her eyes lit up with hope. Really? Yeah, maybe you should go check on Brandon. Make sure he's okay waiting down there. Of course, she said, practically glowing with excitement. I'll be right back. She headed for the door, then turned back. Jake, I'm staying at the Four Seasons tonight. Room 827. Brandon thinks I'm staying with my sister. If you want to continue this conversation. After she left, I stood there trying to process what had just happened. My ex-girlfriend was offering to cheat on her boyfriend with me, using him as an alibi for the affair she was planning. I thought about Brandon, sitting in his car, probably thinking his girlfriend was getting healthy closure with her ex so they could move forward together. He had no idea what she was really proposing. Then I thought about what kind of person I wanted to be. Did I want to be complicit in this betrayal? Did I want Jessica back in my life, even temporarily? About 15 minutes later, Jessica knocked again. This time she was alone, looking hopeful and nervous. So? She asked as soon as I opened the door. I let her back in. I've been thinking about what you said. And? You're right that we had something special, and maybe we do need proper closure. I could see the relief and excitement in her eyes. She thought she'd gotten what she wanted. But Jessica, I continued, I don't think one night is enough. If we're going to do this, we should do it right. She looked confused. What do you mean? I mean you should leave Brandon. Tonight. If what we have is real, then you shouldn't be with someone else. Her expression changed. This wasn't what she'd expected. Jake, I can't just leave him. We live together. We have plans. Then you don't really want to be with me. You just want to have it both ways. It's not that simple. It is that simple, Jessica. Either you want me, or you want him. You can't have both. She was quiet for a moment, clearly struggling with a choice she hadn't expected to have to make. What if we just see how tonight goes first? No. If you walk out of here to go meet Brandon, then this conversation never happened. If you want to be with me, you end it with him first. Jessica stared at me for a long moment, and I could see the wheels turning. She was weighing her options. Keep her stable, wealthy boyfriend, or risk it all for an ex who might not even want her back long term. I need to think about this, she finally said. That's fine. But Jessica, I need you to understand something. This isn't just about one night. If we're going to be together, it's going to be real. No more games, no more manipulation, just honesty. She nodded, but I could see the calculation in her eyes. She was already planning her next move. After she left, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Jessica would go back to Brandon, tell him some story about getting closure, and then try to maintain contact with me as a backup plan. She wanted security with Brandon, and excitement with me, and she thought she could manipulate both situations to get what she wanted. But I had recorded our entire conversation. I waited 3 days before reaching out to Brandon. I found his LinkedIn profile and sent him a professional message saying I had some important information about Jessica that he needed to hear. We met at a coffee shop downtown. I brought my laptop with the recording. Brandon, this is going to be difficult to hear, but Jessica came to see me a few days ago. She brought you with her, actually. Yeah, she told me she needed closure from your relationship. I thought it was healthy. That's not exactly what she was looking for. I played him the recording. His face went through shock, disbelief, anger, and finally heartbreak as he heard Jessica's voice clearly propositioning me and dismissing their relationship as boring and predictable. When it got to the part where she said Brandon doesn't have to know, he put his head in his hands. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I had no idea. I figured you should know what kind of person you're with. Brandon confronted Jessica that night. According to what he told me later, she initially tried to deny everything, then claimed I had manipulated the recording, then finally admitted it, but said it was just a moment of weakness that didn't mean anything. Brandon ended their relationship immediately. Jessica had to move out of his apartment and find a new place. She also lost access to the lifestyle he'd been providing. No more expensive dinners, designer shopping, luxury vacations. But the real consequences came when Brandon decided to share the recording with their mutual friends and coworkers. Jessica's reputation in Seattle's tech community was destroyed overnight. Everyone knew her as the woman who tried to cheat on her boyfriend with her ex while using the boyfriend as her alibi. She tried reaching out to me several times, alternating between apologies and accusations. Sometimes she'd claim she really did love me, and Brandon had never mattered. Other times she'd say I had ruined her life by not keeping our conversation private. Jessica eventually moved to Portland for a fresh start. Brandon started dating a teacher named Sarah, who actually appreciated his stability and kindness. As for me, I learned that recording conversations isn't just about protecting yourself, sometimes it's about protecting innocent people from manipulative liars. Jessica taught me that some people never really change. She was still the same person who needed constant validation and was willing to hurt anyone to get it. The only difference was that this time I was smart enough not to get sucked back into her drama. The recording not only saved Brandon from wasting more time with someone who didn't respect him, but it also saved me from making a huge mistake. Because if I'm being honest, for a moment there, I was tempted. Sometimes the best thing you can do for everyone involved is simply tell the truth. Have you ever had an ex try to manipulate their way back into your life? Share your story in the comments. I read every single one. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this. Trust me, there are plenty more where this came from.